Hello, everyone. This is Federico Arellano again. You can find me at Arellano Yo with double L and Y. And I am very happy today because we have a conversation with an amazing creator. Okay, just listen to this. This conversation would be about sex, tarot, and creating stuff and being creative entrepreneurs and stuff. And this is Diego with us. Hello, Diego.
Hey, thank you for inviting me, Federico. Pleasure to be
Oh,
here.
it's just amazing. Where are you from? Where are you in this moment?
I live in Rome, in Italy, and yes, I live in Pineto, which is an area which is quite fresh, let's say, of Rome.
That's
Fresh
that's
and
amazing.
trendy.
Um, okay, so first of all, why are you here? Why do you describe yourself as an entrepreneur? What do you do?
Well, I feel I'm a sex positive artivist. Usually, I describe myself like artivist as in mixing art and activism. But I also have a project which is called La Tana Libera Tutt, which in Italian in English would be translated something like Freedom for All, which is a play on words with freedom and den, as in the place where the animals live. And it's a project to share, to make known the culture of sex positivity, which is something that we definitely need in our society to keep moving. And I saw, first of all, started organizing events and workshops, meetings, and I have obviously pages on the internet. But recently, I came up with the concept of having a sex positive tarot. So
Wow.
tarot that can be a tool to get to know the person you have in front, but also to express, to have the person who's consulting to express their thoughts or their questions about sexuality, and then maybe have answers which they were inside themselves but they couldn't connect. So that's the magic that I realized that tarots have. They can help you
Absolutely.
put together things that are inside you, pieces that are floating somewhere, but they just happen, they appear on the symbol and they make you realize things that you weren't aware of.
Absolutely. For me, you said a clue word. I think all entrepreneurs are magicians, right? Because
Mhm.
I describe, or I like to describe magic as a way to change reality with your thoughts. And I am a huge believer of that. I think that myself and my life are some sort of a leading proof that, of course, when you think on something, you can change reality through your thoughts, right? In a way, of course, has also to do with my sexual identity and by accepting myself and by coming out of the closet or whatever. But I think that a lot of entrepreneurs, whatever extra power they would need to do what they want to do, no matter where they live or no matter what their initial situation is believe in magic. Believe that by thinking of something, by wanting something, of course, but wanting them truly, right? Being honest to yourself and whatever, you can actually make reality change, and you can actually like make these things that want to happen. Like being this talking about these conspirations with the sky and with the energy of the world and whatever. And I think it's just amazing what you do. So you're in this moment launching a campaign on Kickstarter, aren't you?
Exactly. We thought of this project, which initially was something that I just wanted to do for people to know, like in my community. But then when I start getting the word out, I also saw there was a very possible big response. And also when I asked about printing, it was more or less the same cost for 100 than 500. So that made me think that I have to think bigger in general. And so, yes, going to Kickstarter was one step that definitely made me, grow the whole idea. And the other important concept part of this project is that the cards are illustrated by 33 different artists, so
Wow.
international. And so, first it was just my close friends or the people that I knew, but then I just started contacting artists that I admire on Instagram, And when I saw them also being interested and wanting to be part of this, the thing kept growing. So I'm very. And one thing that you said about magic, also the other part of magic is believing. That is another strong part of, because you have to believe in magic, or you have to believe in general in the magic of the things happening. And so that's another strong element in entrepreneur or in general. It's like, having, the thing that when there's something there, you have to keep going, even if at the beginning you have, all the difficulties that we all face. And I mean, sometimes you're lucky, but, of course, sometimes there's resistance, and because it's something new, so it's difficult to get it out there. But then if you keep going and if you believe it's the right thing to do, you just keep going.
I think that if everyone knew about this, if everyone learned how to believe in themselves, by tarot or by whatever they want, in like tools to help their spirits to go free, and to to show them evidence of what it's like to have power and to believe, I think the world would be a much better place.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have another question for you. You said that you're working internationally with artists, and and I love the term Archivism. Um, so, how have you find the response of the community worldwide? I mean, has it been a good response on Kickstarter, but also on this social network work that you're doing? By connecting artists of different places of the world and everything. Has it been a positive response? And also, let me add another question. How easy or how hard has it been to put all of these people together?
Well, the first part is definitely had a positive response from everybody I talked to, because, well, as I said, I've been in the sex positive community for already like 7, 8 years. So I mean, I'm quite active in that sense, and I had connections, and every person that works in this field said that's a great idea. That works. That is something that it can have success. Obviously, then there's the second part, which is all the communication, getting the word out there. And obviously there's the problem that a lot of artists don't have the money. So artists, as in the people that work in the field of activism. But the artists, for example, have also been very supportive. Like, they all will be paid, but they're now working. I mean, until I get the money, they started working for
If
free.
if and only everyone that is watching this interview contributes on Kickstarter, right? Uh, so that's something on our side. Okay, keep going.
Yes. But yeah, I'm just saying also the difficulty of obviously also working with the artist and not having the money to pay forward forward like before. There's the fact that they also have a lot of work to do before, and so I'm still struggling a little bit with some artists that have a lot of things on their mind, and so they take time to finish their work. But I mean, I'm also, because this deck, I'm also with a book. We're also preparing a book, and so I asked the artist to write, statements about how their creative process was and how they chose that card and why did they drew the thing they drew, but they still have taking time to respond. So I mean, the important part in all this was patience, for sure. Patience and not getting, I knowing that it will work in the end. And so even if it's not as, I put a date and it's like 15th of October, and still we're now on the 20th of 21st of December, and some people are still behind. But I just say, okay, they're artists, and I trust that they believe in it, and so they will do it.
Absolutely. I think two things. On one side, of course, patience, and on the other, the ability of being flexible, and being flexible with your project, also with yourself and with the others. I think that's also something that we can share very easily with all of the entrepreneurial community that is watching this interview. Before the end, just I would like to make sure my audience understands what sex positivity is, because we were having such an interesting conversation backstage, and I thought that sex positivity had to do with physical stuff, and I was like, oh, perhaps you're too shy, perhaps you don't feel very comfortable talking about sexuality. Can you tell us a little more on what sex positivity is?
well, sex positivity is like a movement that even started in the 60s, but it's mainly about creating spaces or creating the possibility for people to express their sexuality. But sexuality doesn't mean doesn't mean that you have to have more sex. It just means to have your way of living sexuality. For example, asexuality is a type of, it's part of the word of sex. It's a spectrum in the sexuality word, in sex positive word. Or also, for example, concepts which are more like fundamental are, well, the four suits of the deck in the arcana, the minor arcana, are no judgment, awareness, consent, and pleasure. But also in pleasure, for example, what we dedicated the cards like 1 to 10 was body parts, because everybody thinks that pleasure is like in the genitals, but there's so much more to explore. That's actually the claim of the sex positive tarot deck. So it's like, for example, having exploring your body, and so each part has its importance. And also in consent, there's like 14 cards dedicated to it, and so there's so many aspects, like being honest, like being it has to be reversible, it has to be there's power dynamics, so there's so many elements that have to be considered. Assertivity, and also an awareness, it's important. There's so many, it's conceptual, let's say, but it's also very practical and physical. So it covers the whole thing. It's not only about having more sex. That's for sure.
That's amazing. I think that a lot of our community will definitely like to keep in touch with you. We will be sharing, of course, all your social media, and of course a link to the Kickstarter campaign. But lastly, would you like to share a message to all of the entrepreneurs in different places of the world that will be watching this interview? And I would like to add an extra challenge, because you're in this movement, and so I would like I would like you to add to your message the concept of power. Um, with that, please share what you have to say with people in different places of the world that are thinking if they're doing the right thing, if believing it's okay, and so please, I would like to hear your message.
Well, the power, for sure, it's something that it has to come first from your inner self, as in work clearly what you really want, what your objectives are, but mainly it's the collaboration with the people. And so if I have to say in one sentence, for the project, is just like to go forward. It's something that I already said before, maybe, but just to keep going with the project until it takes the shape you really want, and it takes the way you think that has the energy to be out there. Because I mean, at the beginning we'll definitely find resistance if something is new, but then it will keep going until one sentence I remember I was told is, if you're stoppable, you'll be stopped. So like, create yourself the momentum to, and yeah, I mean, in my views, I mean, even if it's something that is not understood yet, but has something to something that you feel it's important to get out there. For example, I'm I have difficulties in other aspects, like I'm also shy, or also sometimes I don't like being insistent and all this. But when I have like a clear message, and I found this way, like I'm actually 44, and I came to this path only like as I said 7-8 years ago. So I was already had my past experiences, but then I just made I felt this strong vocation. When you find when something that is really strong for you, just go for it. And I did, and I went all in, let's say.
And be unstoppable, of course. I love it, Diego. One very last question: does your outfit mean something?
Well, this one in particular is from Monsters Inc. It's Sullivan. But yeah, just one of the paths that I met in this in my recent life, let's say, was the Burning Man. It's a
Hmm.
festival in the States, or actually it's a community because it has many different hubs. Like, I hang out in the European burner community, and it's it has 10 principles, and one of them is radical self-expression. So I had so much fun, and I enjoyed wearing these outfits in the desert of Nevada. I had the tiger outfit. That's why my name is Diego Tigrotto. And when I came back and I said, why do I have to wear it only there? Why not every day? Why not keep it as a form of expression? So it's something that I just enjoy, and I feel like it makes me happy, makes people happy, and it's warm, cuddly, comfortable. So
Absolutely. You're
it has.
you're amazing, Diego Tigrato. It was a very nice pleasure to have this conversation with you. Thank you so much.
No, it was a pleasure. Thank you for having me, Federico. It was a real cool, nice chat. I love sharing. So thank you.
Thank you for sharing, of course. Wow, this was amazing. See you on the next one.